What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Treeman TV and welcome to another Gunpla video. Today's video is going to be a little different from our usual Treeman builds content, so let's roll the intro and jump right on into it. Alright you guys, so it's been a few days now since we've done our last episode of Treeman builds where we took on real grade Ava Unit 0. I always forget how to point in reverse. There it is, right up there. And that was, that was the last episode of Treeman builds. You might be saying, well, why has it been so long? I am waiting right now on some kits. I don't have any kits to build, so without a kit to build, we can't do an episode of the build series. Those of you who follow me on Instagram might be saying to yourself, well, we know you have hobby kits at your local store, Treeman. We've seen you post about going to the hobby store and coming back with kits. That's true, but two things. Rule number one, I guess not rule, but number one is it's Christmas time, so all the extra money that I've got laying around is kind of going towards Christmas gifts for my family and friends, like what you see right over there on that chair. Number two is that last time I went into the hobby shop, they hadn't gotten a new shipment of Gunpla kits yet, so they still had the same ones that I had picked through when I went in there and got Riser, and that's how I ended up getting the two prototype suits from Stardust Memory, the Volburnerin and Zephyrantis, or whatever it's pronounced. So I didn't really want to go back a third time without knowing if they got another shipment, and last time I called them, they still said they were waiting on more Gunpla kits. So we do have 2 or 3 kits on their way from Amazon, because I did spoil myself a little bit while Christmas shopping and buy a couple of Gunpla kits because, I didn't know if anyone would buy them for me, so might as well buy them for yourself, right? And what we're going to be doing today, instead of building a brand new mobile suit, is going through and ranking all of the Gundam that we have in our collection right now. That includes the 6 mobile suits you guys have seen me build in the episodes of Treeman Builds, as well as a couple other ones that I built either before before the series started, like as a practice build just to get my hands dirty and understand how the kits work, or ones that I built just in my free time because I didn't realize how popular this channel was going to be. Not this channel again, this series was going to be, and just built the kits because I had them sitting around and I was like, oh, I gotta sitting around, might as well build it, right? And let's see, is there anything else you need to know about what we're going to be doing to rank them? Yes, it's not going to be your standard 1 through however many mobile suits there are. We're going to actually go through each grade of mobile suits: high grade, real grade, master grade, and I'm going to rank those ones in that order. And then at the very end, you'll see my top 3, my favorite high grade, my favorite real grade, and my favorite master grade, and those will be the end results. So we're not just going to do a typical top 10, or I don't know, I think I have like 12 Gundams, something like that. Not a typical top 12, 1 through 12 all the way, but I'm going to go through each. I have like 4 of each, and we're going to go through and rank them in those orders. You'll see the top 3. I'm kind of rambling again. I feel like I'm over-explaining. The B-roll's already started rolling. You guys can see the mobile suits, so you're probably already like chomping at the bit like I am. Let's go ahead and jump right in to the high-grade mobile suits. Alright, so a quick look at the 4 high-grade mobile suits we're going to be looking at before we jump into a close-up of the first one over there on the left, which is, of course, the granddaddy of all Gundam, RX-78-2 right here, followed by, from Iron-Blooded Orphans, the Bayo mobile suit, which has a nice different color scheme than most of the other ones, and some very cool swords. Then we have our first Strike Gundam of the video up, which is the Isle Strike Gundam. If you guys saw that video, you saw me pronounce it as Ally Strike Gundam. I learned afterwards it's not how you pronounce it, but I do love that big backpack it's got, and those jet thrusters. Man, that thing is a cool Gundam. Not as much though as I love this thing, which is the Star Build Strike Gundam, another Strike Gundam frame, with the big Plav sky wings attached to it. Just so beautiful. Those wings are almost angelic. You can mess around and put them in all kind of different positions. I love the red detailing on the legs too, and those big cannons. So we're going to go ahead and jump into close-ups of each one of these and put them on the rotating thing, starting with, once again, RX-78-2 on the far left. Let's go ahead and go. Alright, so we've got the RX-78-2 up on the old spinny boy now. This particular kit is the high-grade Gundam, the Origin version of it. It comes fully loaded with an arsenal of Hyper Bazooka, 2 variants of a beam rifle, 2 beam sabers up on his back there, as well as that shield over on his left arm. I guess it's the right arm, depending on which way you look at him from. There's also even 2 ways you can put together the RX-78-2 in this kit. The way I've chosen to put it together here is called the mid-type. The main differences between the 2 ways is mainly just 2 different chest pieces as well as some different shoulders. And usually it would be using the beam rifle on its back, not the one on its arm, but I like the design of that one better. You can see I attempted to panel line the legs on this kit, but it did not go so well as it was my very first attempt using Tamiya paint. I also did it without having thinner to use cleanup, so that's something that you should always have on hand. Let's get it off the spinner now. So one last look at the kit before we move on to the next Gundam in the collection. You can see a lot of those sticker style decals I've applied throughout the body to try to make it pop and give it that more realistic kind of look, as well as one more look at the panel line attempt I've done to the legs. Hopefully the next one I attempt to panel line turns out better. More practice means better, you know how that goes. I just still love the look of the original Gundam as soon as the camera focuses there. It just looks like a tank on legs fully loaded with bazookas and beam rifles. However, that brings us to the next mobile suit up on ye old spinny boy right here, which is the Bayo mobile suit from Iron-Blooded Orphans. It is also a tank on legs, but in a very different way than the last one. It doesn't have hyper bazookas or beam rifles to blast through its enemies. No, it just has 2 long, mean, copper or bronze looking swords to slash through any mobile suit that stands in its way. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot of the lore behind this suit because I just started watching Iron-Blooded Orphans and I'm only about halfway through Season 1. Nevertheless, I am here for all of the detail that this kit has, as you can see on the back of the legs, right there in the lower calves and up above the calves too. They look like shocks or springs. I love it and I'm here for it. I also love that premium butt flap right there that's got holsters for both of those copper looking swords. That way whenever it needs to, it can just throw hands in a fight. I like how the chest is a yellow. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be copper, but it's still awesome. And it's got the biggest V-fin of all the mobile suits in my collection. Off the spinner now, and we've got this angle looking up at the Gundam as he's getting ready to strike us with a downward swing of that sword in his right arm. You can see the pinkish red eyes menacingly looking down on you. And you can tell that it's not the standard red, white, and blue color scheme. You've got the shoulder symbol of Gallarhorn, so you know which organization it represents, as well as some yellow in there, which is awesome. As well as the yellow up here in the shoulder if you look closely, right above the red, pink again, and those wings that are completely different design than say the Plav Sky wings on the Starbuild Strike Gundam, but the legs have got to be my favorite thing. On to the next. So up next we've got the Isle Strike Gundam right here. You can see on his one arm you've got a big anti-beam shield for defense, and in the other hand just a standard beam rifle as his primary weapon. It's got a nice sleek frame, that way it can zip around on the battlefield and make sure it doesn't take too many hits from enemy Gundams or Zaku's, because it's not the most heavily armored Gundam out there, so it's got to be able to dodge well. And of course the one thing that allows it to dodge super well is that strike pack on its back. Look at those big jet thrusters, making it one of the fastest Gundams in my collection. Let's get it up on the spinner and take a better look at it. Alright, so up on the spinner now, and we'll get that nice full 360 degree rotation of the Isle Strike Gundam. Once again, starting from the front, you can see both of the armaments in both of his arms there, the rifle as well as the shield. And a quick glance up, you'll see the beam sabers attached to that Isle Striker pack as he rotates around a little bit for a new view of the actual striker pack itself. I'd have to say my favorite part about that backpack is the yellow accents that make it pop right there. The least favorite thing is how the upper wings, all the red you see on the actual wings themselves, not the jet thrusters, were color correcting stickers, so that was a tedious process to say the least. But it turned out looking absolutely beautiful, as we go in for almost a little bit more of a close-up on the legs there. This is probably a kit I'm going to panel line in the future once I've had some more practice. I also feel like I'm going to need to scribe a lot of my own panel lines on said kit because I don't see a whole lot of natural runs. But all in all, this is still one of my favorite kits because I am just a sucker for the Strike Gundam frame. After I bought this, that's why I bought the Star Build Strike Gundam we're going to take a look at next. So without any further ado, there are those beautiful Plab Sky Wings attached to the Star Build Strike Gundam, straight out of Gundam Build Fighters. This time we're going to start from the bottom of the feet up, looking at those little red accents on the calf right there. I love that little detail. Fun fact, there are little red accents that go in all of the spots where the wings go if you choose not to equip the wings. But I mean, come on, look at those wings. Why would you choose not to equip those wings? They're beautiful. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me pose them in all kind of different ways too. Right underneath his arms there, you can see some big beam cannons that he can fire in conjunction with the Star Beam rifle. And then underneath those cannons are the two beam sabers ready for quick draw close quarters combat. Here we got a quick view from the back of the wings. You can see some more details. Let's get it up on the spinner now. Alright, so now that we've got the Star Build Strike Gundam up on the old spinny rotator, you can see some nice shots of the light reflecting off of the blue on the wings if you pay attention up there. You can also see that the shield on his left arm there also functions as some sort of, I believe it's a grenade launcher, which is really cool to me to have a shield that also has offensive capabilities in a fight. It's awesome. As we work our way around to the back, you can see some more angles of light reflecting off of the wings, as well as the over-the-shoulder wings that you didn't get to see too well from the front, and the ones coming out the back in like a downward kind of motion. Really cool. The detail on this kit, I just love it. We look again at the side of the legs and the side of those beam cannons with the red effects. The clear parts I'm always a sucker for. A nice little close-up of the Star Rifle there. It's angled a little more down as I was moved it than I wanted it to be. We go in for one more close-up on his face, and I love the V-fin on this particular kit. So now that we've taken a close-up, in-depth look at each one of these mobile suits in our high-grade category and put each one of them on the spinner to give them a nice 360-degree rotation, as well as even some action poses that you guys are getting to see right now, we are going to go back to the group shot and give them each the ranking 1 through 4 in the high grade category. And of course, just to recap one more time, the suits are RX-78-2, IL Strike Gundam, Star Build Strike Gundam, and the Iron-Blooded Orphans Bale mobile suit. So let's go back to the group shot and give them all a ranking. Alright, so starting off in the number 4 slot right there, we've got the RX-78-2, very iconic mobile suit. You get a lot of accessories too with it. Followed by that at number 3 is the Bale mobile suit from Iron-Blooded Orphans. Really cool design, however you only get 2 swords for accessories. Moving right along to number 2 right here is the IL Strike Gundam. I love the Strike Gundam frame, as I've said before, and that big backpack is awesome. Like the jet thrusters on the side as we swing around to take one last look at them, they almost take the top spot, but they just lose out to the angelic wings of the Star Build Strike Gundam. Like I said, I love the Strike Gundam frame, and the wings of this thing are angelic. There's no other way I can describe them. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen some of these pictures that I'm popping up on the screen before where I have them in different poses. But yeah, that's easily my favorite high grade right now. As we take a step back to view the whole collection from left to right, 1 through 4. And now we're going to move on to the real grade kits. Now, as we take a look at the 3 real grade kits in our collection currently, you can see I've got all 3 of them up on an action base, pulling off some kind of pose from just standing there to wildly slashing with the beam saber, which is the first one right here, Gundam Zephyrantis, I believe is how you pronounce it, from Stardust Memories, on the Burst Bandai stand right there, looking like he's going to slash us with the beam saber. Followed by that, we have got everybody's favorite, the iconic Unicorn Gundam, currently in Unicorn mode with a bazooka in one hand and a shield on the other arm. Oh, I love that Gundam. Followed by that, we have one more Stardust Memories mobile suit. That is the full Burnerin. It is on actually a brand new action base. I just got this at the day of filming it. It's that sparkle red plastic. I like it, and it lets me pull off the look that the Gundam is in flight with those big jetpack thrusters on it. So let's put each one of these guys up on the spinner and get a closer look. Now, the first real grade kit we've got up on the old spinner right here is the GP01 Gundam Zephyrantis. Again, let me know in the comments if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Not 100% certain. Aside from that, the first thing you guys should realize is that this kit, besides the high grades, has a lot more surface detailing to it. Even up there on the backpack and on the premium grade butt flaps. So that's why this and the full burner-in are going to be the first two kits that I fully panel line as soon as I get my paint and my thinner to show up. As we make our way around to the other side of the Gundam, you can see he's got the shield there in that hand, some more explosions in the background from that action base. Both those kits, this and full burner-in, do feature the core fighter system, so you can like open the front of his chest there and take out the core fighter. Of course, then he's not much of a mobile suit, so I generally leave him like this. Off of the spinner and back onto the desk, we take one more up close and personal look at him in that I'm about to strike down my enemies with this beam saber kind of pose. Although it should be noted that that real grade hand doesn't have the strongest of grips on that beam saber. If I would have known while recording that footage, I would have given it a little poke for you guys and it probably would have fallen right out of his hand. But aside from that, once you do get it into a pose, it'll stay there and look awesome on your desk. I mean, even as someone who's never seen Stardust Memories, when I saw this kit, I knew it was one that I had to have in my collection. Moving right along to the next real grade mobile suit up on the spinner, and it is going to be another mobile suit from Stardust Memories. This is the GP01B full burner-in. It's very similar to the last one we just looked at, the Zephyrantis, aside from some more boosters all over the body. The main two right there up on the backpack, two more smaller ones on the backpack, and those ones on the calves there being the biggest difference. Also the design of the calves themselves. It's another really cool mobile suit. There's just thrusters everywhere on this thing. You can see some more on the shoulder as we spin around here. Underneath those yellow vents on the chest, there's even more thrusters. But because they are similar mobile suits, some things like that beam rifle that he's holding are the same one that you would see on Zephyrantis, as well as like his face being similar. It's pretty cool though. And he's got that red action base that I just bought. So that brings us to the final real grade kit that we're going to put up on the spinner in this video. And it is a kit that is very different from the last two Stardust Memories mobile suits we just looked at. This is the RX-0 Unicorn Gundam from Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn. If you saw the video where I built this mobile suit, then you know I recommend that people should watch that show. It's a great show, I love it. As we spin right around to the front, you can see, of course, the unicorn here is in unicorn mode right now, but a little bit of the psycho frame is exposed on his shoulders and his torso. He's holding that big bazooka right there with the beam magnum tucked away on his back. And yeah, we'll go ahead and roll some footage of the unicorn in destroy mode right now so you can see the differences. And there it is in all of its glory in full destroy mode with that NTD active and the psycho frame exposed all over the place. You can tell it's also a lot more Gundam-y looking in this mode with the V-fin of the split horn and the psycho frame just everywhere. There's so much detail on this kit. I love it. The way the legs transformed, the shield transformed, everywhere transforms to expose little bits of psycho frame. Even the beam sabers flip up and out of the backpack when it goes into destroy mode like this. Both of the butt flaps have spots where you can mount the magazines for either of the weapons, so that way it's like you have a spare mag. As we rotate around to his forearm there, you can see that that would flip out and as like a forearm mounted beam saber. Awesome on that too. Even the beam magnum is a relatively unique weapon, I believe only found in the unicorn suits or the mobile suits from this anime. Now I've gone ahead and put the unicorn on the burst effect action base right here to make it look like it's in combat with some other kind of mobile suit that's been taking shots at it. And it also gives us another look at all those bits of psycho frame that expose itself, from the skirting armor little pieces there to those big chunks down in the legs, which are kind of a pain to pull out. Pro tip, push from the back. It makes your life much easier if you're trying to transform this kit. There's also nice chunks of psycho frame up on the torso there. I feel like this kit goes well with this action base too, because the explosions are all in pink to match the psycho frame's color. So now that we've taken a close-up look at each one of these mobile suits individually, it's once again time for us to rank them, so let's get it on. So to start things off, over here on the left, we've got the two Stardust Memories mobile suits at kind of a 2A and 2B slot instead of a true 2 and 3, because they're so similar in their design and articulation abilities that I find it hard to choose really one over the other. They both have similar pros and cons, which is why they're like that. And then over here on the right, we have the true winner of the real grade category, the Unicorn Gundam, of course. It's got that transformation into full destroy mode and an arsenal of weapons that it came with. What more could you ask for? Now let's take a look at the Master Grade mobile suits. So here they are, the 4 Master Grade mobile suits currently in my collection, 2 of which you guys have seen in episodes of Tree Man Builds. And going from left to right, we have got the Shining Gundam from Mobile Fighter G Gundam, Gundam Heavy Arms from Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, the 00 Riser Gundam from Gundam 00, and then finally the big boy over there on the right is the Full Armor Thunderbolt Gundam from Gundam Thunderbolt. This one and then the Gundam Heavy Arms are the 2 kits that you guys never got to see me build. I kind of built those 2 as test kits to learn how these kits worked. So let's go ahead and put them each up on the spinner and take closer looks at them. The first Master Grade kit we've got up on the spinner is this mammoth of a mobile suit right here, the Full Armor Gundam Thunderbolt. This is also the Ver-Ka version of this kit, which means its colors are a little bit different than the standard one. I'll throw a picture of that up on the screen right now so you guys can see the difference as we spin around back and take a look at these giant thrusters on its backpack. This mobile suit is designed for space use and space combat, as you can tell by the sticker on the side right there that says Earth Federation Space Force, and the beam saber tucked away in the backpack as we pan up to look at this mega particle cannon up on his shoulder. And on the other shoulder there is a 6-pack of missiles as he spins around to the front. The kit also has 2 shields equipped, and there are 2 more that come with this kit, one for the other arm and one for the other mechanical arm, like the one in that backpack you can see right there. It's literally just on the other side, just tucked away for now, just like that other beam saber right there. This kit is huge. It's probably the biggest kit in my collection right now, and was the very first kit I built ever. I was a little nervous to put it up on the spinner with all of the weight being up on that tiny little arm with the action base that does come with the kit, but it was able to withstand the spin. So let's take another look at it from a different angle. So as we move to a close-up of his face right there and then pan up to the armaments on that backpack once again with that mega particle cannon and 6 missiles, as well as 2 of his 4 shields equipped and a twin beam cannon in that right arm. That's one of the biggest weapons I've built on a Gunpla kit so far. And even though this may have been challenging as my very first kit, I think it turned out looking pretty good. Let's move on to the next one. So the next Master Grade kit up on the spinner right there is the Shining Gundam. This is actually the most recent Gundam to be featured in one of our Tree Man Builds episodes. Of course, our most recent episode featured Eva Unit 0, but right before that we did build this guy right here. For those of you who did not watch that episode, this mobile suit is from Mobile Fighter G Gundam, an anime that took place in 1994, and the kit itself was produced by Bandai in 2002, so it's almost 20 years old. And let me tell you, I was able to tell when I built it, because there are some things in this kit that are definitely not present in a lot of the newer kits that I've built, such as screws. Yes, and the rubberized hands that are unique to the G Gundam's model kits. But overall, I really wanted to have a Shining Gundam in my collection, so I took extra care while cutting and filing some of the plastic to make it look as good as I could, at least until I can panel line it once again, once the panel lining supplies get here. But you can see right there on the back of the core lander some of the marks, because that was the first thing I built and I learned that this plastic marks very, very easily. Let's take a different look at it off the spinner now. So now off of the spinner, we can take a look at that nice gem in the middle of his chest, which I believe is either supposed to be the cockpit or just right above it. Also, that beam saber in his hands is the long version. And then you've got the color correcting stickers down on his feet right below the venting for super mode. And why take a look at it like this when we can see super mode? So there it is, back up on the spinner with the transformation into super mode completed. It's pretty easy. You just pull up on the shoulders, pop up all the stuff on the head, and open up the vent on his legs. I've also gone ahead and thrown in the shining finger into his right hand, and that hand is UV reactive. However, I don't have a black light to show you that, but I do have some pictures on my Instagram I'll pop up right now of it under blue light from LEDs, and it looks pretty cool. Anyways, let's jump on to the next Master Grade mobile suit. Up next, we have another mobile suit that can really only be described as an absolute tank on legs, as you can tell from that giant Gatling gun that it's holding right there. This is Gundam Heavy Arms from Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. And not only does it have that giant Gatling gun, but it's also got 7 compartments hidden with missiles, as well as 2 more chest compartment Gatling guns that we will be taking a look at here in a second. Right now. I certainly hope you didn't think I was kidding when I said there were several hidden compartments full of missiles and 2 hidden Gatling guns in its chest. Look at all of that. This thing is ready for absolute warfare. I did, however, lose/break off the chain gun magazine. There's supposed to be a part that goes from that backpack cylinder up to the minigun that looks like basically the ammo for the chain gun. It just kind of fell off while I was moving and posing the kit. It's around, I have to reattach it. But look at those legs. Even each leg has 2 separate 8-packs of missiles. My goodness, this thing's ready for every kind of fight you could imagine. Even the front skirting armor, I believe, has missiles that I forgot to flip open. And the minigun's got a shield. There's also a combat knife you can build for his left arm that I just haven't gotten around to doing yet. So this thing has everything you could imagine. But let's hop into the last Master Grade mobile suit that we've got in our collection. The last mobile suit we are going to be taking an up-close look at today is the 00 Riser from Gundam 00. This mobile suit has already been featured once here on the channel as an episode of Tree Man Builds. It was our first Master Grade to be featured in that series, and I absolutely love this kit. From that large GN3 sword in his right arm to the 2 GN2 swords on his hips, and the many clear parts on this kit that are GN capacitors throughout the arms, legs, and even the head. There's just so many cool things about this kit, as well as those 2 GN drives in the shoulders, which I finally got around to ordering the LED lights for. I went online to Amazon and ordered a 5-pack of the LED lights that go 1 in his chest and 2 for the GN drives in his shoulders. I did not go with the Bandai ones because I've heard they're not very bright. I went with some random off-brand that I was able to get 5 of, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. The head gets lit, that's pretty funny, and the shoulders light up really well. Let's take a look at this kit in the dark though, because this is where this kit really shines. Pun only semi-intended, as we've turned off the main lights in the room, leaving on just the lights in the model kit, and then some LEDs that I have for set lighting. Anyways, you can really see the glow coming through the 2 GN mounted shoulder drives as well as up into the head. Remember, that light is in his chest, shining up through to his head. And now you can see we've got the GN3 sword folded back, so it's in its gun mode for long range attacks, which is something that is really cool about the Gundam 00 weapons. All of the swords except for those 2 right there on his premium butt flap can turn into long ranged SMG weapons. Both the GN2 swords as well as the one that you see on his arm there. As we spin back around to the shoulders, it's worth mentioning that you can pop the shields off the shoulders, combine them into one big shield, and mount it on his arm too for more protection. Or you could even swivel those things around so they're facing the front and use them up on the shoulders to still block incoming attacks. As we go in for a close-up, you can really see the light coming through into the head there. It's just beautiful. The lights make this kit even better than it was without the lights, which it already was great, but let's go ahead and rank all the Master Grades. Alright, so once again we've got all the mobile suits lined up, going from left to right in order of favoritism. We start off at number 4 with Gundam Heavy Arms. This is a great kit, and you do get a lot of accessories with this kit. It just doesn't have that oomph to crack into my top spots for me. Right above it at number 3 we have Shining Gundam. Despite this thing being almost 20 years old, it still looks absolutely stunning, and the nostalgia of that show probably is why it's in the 3rd spot for me. After that, at number 2, we have the full armor Thunderbolt Gundam. This thing is so detailed, being the only Verka kit in my collection, and I just love it. Despite it being the first kit that I built, so there being plenty of mistakes, it almost takes the top spot, but it just loses out to 00 Riser. And once again, if you follow me on Instagram, this shouldn't surprise you too much because I am constantly posting pictures of this kit. I've been in love with it since the first time that I built it. Adding those LEDs just made me love it even more as I turned off the light on the camera so that you guys get one last shot of the master grade kits. Let's take a look at the top 3 mobile suits from the collection. So there they are in no particular order, the top mobile suits from each category, again being high grade, real grade, and master grade. We'll start off over there on the left with our representative from high grade, the Star Build Strike Gundam, and those beautiful Plavsky wings on it. I could look at that kit all day. I do also appreciate that it came with its own action base. Up after that, we have got the real grade Unicorn Gundam to represent real grade, and that is one of my favorite mobile suits from one of my favorite Gundam animes right now, so it's no shocker that it took that crown. The transformation aspect of it is just awesome. Up after that though, we have got that master grade 00 Riser. And you guys just heard me say nothing but good things about this kit for the last 2 minutes, so I won't say too much about it other than the fact that it lights up, and that is so badass. And it's got 4 to 5 swords on it. It's not the 7 sword version, but we could have got that one if we wanted to. So yeah, let's take a look at the whole collection now. There it is in all of its glory, barely able to fit onto my desk, the full army of my Gundam mobile suits. There is Eva Unit 0, but it's not a mobile suit Gundam, so it's not in this shot right here. I just wanted to say thank you all for watching this video. I know it's kind of long at upwards of 30 minutes, but I wanted to make sure I got a good little speech in for each one of our Gundams, and I hope you enjoyed this content. We're going to do a real outro right after this shot, but I just wanted to take a moment to say thanks. And also, I don't have any Zaku's at the moment, so we'll have to get a Zaku, probably Char's red one, to start our collection off with. Alright everyone, thank you all so much for tuning into today's video where I ranked all of the mobile suits here in my collection of Gunpla. If this was something that you enjoyed and you want to see me rate more suits or maybe do more in-depth reviews of kits that I get in the future, be sure to smash the like button and comment down below, you know, which one of those is something you'd want to be interested in watching me do. Sorry, I kind of stumbled there a little bit. As I said, I'm kind of waiting on more kits to get here so we can do the next episode of Tree Man Builds. But in the process of making this video, one of the kits actually arrived. So within the next few days, the next episode of Tree Man Builds should be coming out for you guys. I am very excited. We're gonna be building from Zeta Gundam, or Z Gundam. I like Zeta better, it sounds cool. The RX-178 Gundam Mark II AUG version, and as you can see right here, it's also the clear color version. So it's one of those, like, if you guys are in the Gunpla community or you've seen other posts or watch any other channels, you've probably seen the clear kits. Otherwise, I'm throwing a picture up on the screen right now so you get a understanding of what I'm talking about. But it's going to be different than anything I've built so far. It's only a high grade, so it shouldn't be super challenging. The coolest thing is going to be that clear aspect of it. So be sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when this comes out. Should be within the next week, maybe by the end of this week if I get super anxious to build it and I'm super quick at editing. Then yeah, it'll be out within this week or at the very latest next week. As always, you guys, this has been Tree Man building Gunpla kits. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, peace.